Episode 111, Logan's Estate Manager. Corey thought that, if he hadn't seen and heard everything with his own eyes and ears tonight, he would have thought that the Kingstons were joking. Logan had seen a lot of things, but now he wasn't even frowning. Were they really trying to say that the Smith Group would go bankrupt if Violet stuck around? Lionel is a rational man, but my cousin isn't a pure and kind person. I'm afraid she won't be able to resist doing something inappropriate. Chloe's face was full of worry. Violet can't be trusted, otherwise she wouldn't have cheated on Lionel back then. Violet sneered. She was the one who had been betrayed by the person she'd trusted the most. When she thought back on it, she realized that she had been a fool back then. Why are you suddenly so concerned about me? If you cared about me, I wouldn't have had to stay overseas for 4 years. If you cared about me, you wouldn't have been following me and trying to kill me. Violet snapped. The children had also been kidnapped before. She knew that someone had been looking for an opportunity to make them disappear. Besides, there were reporters here today, as well as many rich and famous people. However, Violet didn't care, so she spoke her mind. Even if 99% of the people who had attended the banquet were bribed by the Kingston family, there would always be one person who would be curious and willing to spread her words. As long as there were people who doubted the Kingston family and Miranda, Violet would have a chance of winning this battle. Don't blame us. Chloe could not tolerate others slandering her mother like this. She held Lionel's hand for support, her face full of sadness, disappointment, and anger. If you still like Lionel, we can have a fair competition instead of using dirty tactics like trying to drag my mother through the mud. She has always wanted you to return to the Kingston family. But Daddy thinks that you are too stubborn, and he is afraid that it will affect Elizabeth and me. Charles, whose name was innocently dumped into the conversation, sighed helplessly. He also did not dare to refute his daughters. After all, in this family, Miranda was the one who had the last word. Although the Kingston family doesn't owe you anything, we will treat you well. Why do you need to stay in the Smith Group anyways? When the time comes, you will act impulsively and screw things up, causing the relationship between the Kingston family and the Alexander family to crack. Why don't you want my mother to help you? Chloe's words implied that Violet would never forget her old relationship with Lionel, and that, when the time came, she would reveal the secrets of the Smith Group and Logan would regret hiring her. It seems that everyone in the Smith Group is unhappy with Violet, Logan said with amusement. That's not what I meant. I was just thinking about you, Logan. Chloe felt that her words had an effect on Logan. She let out a breath and held Elizabeth's hand to make her feel at ease. Elizabeth was a big star and was famous for her beauty. When Logan married her, it would increase the popularity of both families. Of course, to Elizabeth, it was not just the popularity that mattered, but she was excited to be able to do whatever she wanted in the entertainment industry as the future wife of the CEO of the Smith Group. That was an identity that could make many women jealous beyond recognition. Logan had no reason to reject her, even if she hadn't informed him beforehand about the engagement. Wasn't it a kind sentiment? Didn't it show how much she loved him? Elizabeth was a big star, but she was still willing to compromise with him. She was a great girlfriend, and she would be an even better wife. She had even prepared surprises for him at times. Logan wouldn't be able to do better than her. If he knew what was good for him, he should immediately propose. Chloe thought proudly that Logan being bewitched by Violet was only a temporary thing. It was obvious who was the beauty and who was the beast. If he wasn't blind, he would choose Elizabeth. But sometimes the truth was out of everyone's expectations, and what everyone thought would happen didn't. Although most people did indeed share the same mentality as Chloe. Even Lionel, who thought that Violet was extremely beautiful and had felt guilty for abandoning her, was now thinking, considering his future, he would still make the same decision as he had before and choose Chloe. However, Logan was not him, and Logan was not anyone else. There was only one Logan in this world. Since everyone is so against Violet working in the Smith group and dislikes her being my secretary, I've decided not to go against everyone's wishes. Logan slightly curled his lips and looked at Elizabeth. Seeing that she had finally revealed a smile, he felt a little guilty. However, he had no choice but to do what he thought was right. Elizabeth was very happy. She realized that Logan's previous rejection was all just his way of teasing her. It turned out that he was not really all that cold. He didn't usually pretend to be indifferent to her. He had only done so because their relationship wasn't official yet, and he didn't want to be criticized by others. What was he going to do about Violet? Elizabeth hoped he would fire Violet in front of everyone and then announce the news of their engagement to the public. Only then would this evening be a success. It seemed that Logan had finally seen Violet's true colors. Starting tomorrow, Violet will no longer be working at the Smith Group. Hey! Violet protested angrily. Before the Kingston family's proud smiles disappeared from their faces, Logan spoke again. From now on, she will be my estate manager instead. In the future, I will leave all the matters of my residence up to Violet. Then he spoke directly to her. You can freely enter and exit both the Smith Group and my home at any time. Do you understand? Elizabeth had gone to his house twice in total. The first time, she'd gone there on her own accord, uninvited. After being told off by Logan, she had no longer dared to go without his permission. But now, Violet would actually be able to live in his house all day and night, and would get to see Logan every day and night. Logan looked at Violet, waiting for her answer. Mommy, quickly, agree. If you agree, we can be with Uncle Logan every day. Adam and Amy had just been brought back from the courtyard, so they did not know what had happened between them. They only knew that their mommy had almost been fired, but now that she had a new job, they were happy again. Adam had previously heard that Violet was going to be fired, but he did not think about anything else. He was afraid that he would not have the chance to ask Logan to help them find their father. Now, it seemed that their search could still carry on. As long as they lived in his house, they would have the opportunity to tell Uncle Logan about their little secret and ask him for help. The money they'd gotten from the photo shoot and the pocket money they'd saved together could be used to find their father. Anna also looked at Violet with anticipation and smiled. She nodded at her, encouraging her to quickly agree. She had never seen her big brother care so much about a woman and announce in front of everyone that she could enter his home at any time in the future. Should she tell her grandmother? Forget it. Logan's announcement was already likely spreading like wildfire. Grandmother would know before Anna even got home tonight. Everyone would soon know that Logan and Violet were now living together. Episode 112. Enough for one night. Logan, what do you mean? Didn't you say that Violet would return to the Kingston family? Why would she stay at your place? This isn't good. Your grandmother won't agree. Elizabeth panicked. What's there to disagree with? Violet was already working for me. Now she just has a different job. Besides, I also like her kids. My days will be more interesting once we all live together. Right, Amy? I really like being with Uncle Logan. Amy cutely snuggled up to him. What about you, Adam? He asked the kid. Wherever I am, my brother will go. Right, Adam? Amy looked at Adam proudly. It was as if having a brother was the happiest thing in the world. Adam naturally nodded. It was his responsibility as the man of their family to make his sister and mommy happy. This is no good. It is the Kingston family's responsibility to educate the two children. We can't trouble you with that. Besides, Logan, you're already busy enough. Why would you let the children disturb you? Miranda smiled and pulled Amy's hand. Let go of me. I don't like you. You hurt me. Amy pulled her wrist away, her eyes filled with tears. Chloe pointed out that Violet had raised the children badly. Amy's hand was injured, and she was still blaming it on someone else. She was so scheming at such a young age. She needed to return to the Kingston family and receive a proper education. However, Logan did not feel that Amy needed to be taught anything by the Kingston family. He pulled her to his side and looked at her wrist. After confirming that Miranda had pinched her hard enough to leave an angry-looking mark, he was even more annoyed. He'd remember this and would naturally find a way to pay her back later on. Miranda told Chloe not to say anything else. They were all a family after all. If the child was not properly educated now, there would be many opportunities to do so later. Now, the most important thing was to reunite their family. Since she could not count on Logan, Miranda had to go into the battle herself. She smiled at Adam and Amy, trying to coax them as best as she could. You're such good children. Come, stay with your mother here. There are maids to serve you, and no one will dare to bully you in school in the future. No one bullies us now. All the children at school like us very much. Amy blinked with her big eyes. The people beside her could not help but laugh. Did Miranda think that school was also like their company, where the strong preyed on the weak? Moreover, these two children were so adorable. The girl was cute and sweet, and the boy was like a little adult with a small face. He could melt hearts with a glance. How could anyone be bullying them? Henry takes us to school. The other day, he even brought cupcakes to treat all the kids in our class. Violet wished she could cover Amy's mouth. After saying this, the Kingstons would become even more crazy. Henry was an old servant of the Alexander family and had served them for decades. Fortunately, Miranda did not seem to care too much about a servant. She thought that Adam and Amy did not appreciate her offer and immediately rejected her. She didn't know what to do for a moment. Violet decided she had to give it a try. Since Logan said she could be his estate manager, then she had to give it a try. It was quite a good offer, so she gladly accepted it. I think Logan's suggestion is very good. I will help him manage his residence. If there is anything else I can help with regarding the company's matters, Corey will also let me know. When the time comes, Logan will increase my salary, won't you? My grandfather's shares are not under my control yet, and the money is no longer in my account, so I am very poor. She decided if she was going to bite the bullet and agree, she might as well throw in a raise for herself. Logan agreed. Money was a small matter to him. This woman would follow him obediently, so naturally she would receive certain benefits. When everyone saw that Logan was obviously very protective of Violet and the children, they didn't know if they should speak up for the Kingston family or quickly jump ship. Logan, I heard that you and Elizabeth have always been a couple, but you didn't announce it because you were worried that she was a celebrity. I heard that today is your engagement banquet, so when are you going to announce this joyous event? A reporter suddenly spoke. Who told you all this gossip? Corey put on a stern face. As a reporter, not only are you not telling the truth, but you're also spreading gossip in public. What about your professional ethics? Corey turned around and instructed his assistant behind him. Write down which media outlet he belongs to and ask his manager to take care of him. No, there's no need to contact my manager. We are all just guests at the banquet after all. I am just feeling bad for Elizabeth. He replied. Elizabeth. What about Elizabeth? Everyone says that Elizabeth and I are a couple. Do you even know what Elizabeth is like? Logan smiled coldly and stood up. Well, the reporter hesitated but wasn't quite ready to give up. This reporter was the most stubborn one Logan had ever come across. If he continued to pester him, Logan would see to it that no media outlet would ever hire him again. Okay, you want a story? Here's one. My purpose for coming here today is to inform you that Violet will not be returning to the Kingston family for the time being. Don't disturb her anymore. After all, she will be my estate manager from now on. If you disturb her, it would be the equivalent of disturbing me, and nobody wants to do that. Understood? Logan, what do you mean? There were still people who were not afraid of death and continued to ask him questions. The main reason for that was that they had taken Miranda's money, so they had to do something. That's right, Logan. You came here today and Elizabeth's ring was ready. You won't just leave like that, right? Ring? Didn't the two children find it? Since they found it, then it should belong to them. After all, as Nora claimed, other than them, no one else in the Kingston family knew it existed. Logan clapped back. Mr. Alexander is right. Corey kept nodding his head. No one was going to force Logan to agree to anything. The Kingstons really didn't seem to understand who they were dealing with. Actually, forget about the ring. It's useless even if the children want it. Logan changed his mind and said, Let Chloe have it. Isn't she going to marry Lionel? Amy, give the ring to Lionel, please. Amy obediently took the ring box in her hand and found Lionel, who was standing beside Chloe. She handed it over to him. Logan did not say anything else. He was clearly taking Violet's side. The crowd burst into an uproar again. Violet was different. She had actually defied Logan in front of everyone, and her standing with him hadn't changed. She knew she could challenge him. She was used to it. When people saw the two of them still getting along, they thought that she must have him wrapped around her finger. Violet was ready to leave. She'd had enough drama for one day. Now everyone believed their relationship wasn't as simple as it seemed. In one evening, she'd gone from the pitiful, impoverished girl who couldn't be recognized by the Kingston family to the provocative bitch who had seduced Logan. That seemed like enough for one night. Episode 113. Time to leave. Even Miranda started to be afraid. Could Logan know that Elizabeth was hiding a big secret and that she was an imposter? 4 years ago, she said hesitantly. What happened 4 years ago has nothing to do with today. Logan interrupted Miranda. There is no engagement banquet, and there is no engagement. But the Smith Group and the Kingston family will continue to collaborate in the future. Miranda, wait to hear from my assistant Corey, and we'll set something up. When Charles heard that the Smith Group was going to continue to do business with them, he was overjoyed. He had long forgotten that Logan had rejected the engagement to his daughter. He looked at Miranda excitedly, but saw that she wasn't pacified by narrowing her eyes. She wasn't giving up yet. Charles was a little annoyed by Miranda's stubbornness. He didn't understand what she was thinking. Logan just didn't like Elizabeth. It was fine. What could he do about it? He had long ago said that he was just not attracted to Elizabeth. Logan, this is not right. How can you embarrass such a beauty in front of everyone? But since you want nothing to do with Elizabeth, then I can now pursue her. Garrett finally had the chance to make Logan look bad in front of everyone by accusing Logan of not being a gentleman. Although Elizabeth pretended not to hear him, her ears perked up. Garrett's words had helped her regain some of her confidence after just being rejected by Logan. He had just told everyone that Elizabeth was a beautiful woman who could attract the attention of any young man. Other than Logan, Elizabeth didn't think there was anyone else in Los Angeles who could compare to Garrett. However, she had competition when it came to him as well. Elizabeth suspected that Anna, who was standing close beside Garrett, probably had a thing for him. But Garrett, Anna was stunned. She did not expect Garrett to have feelings for Elizabeth. They had met a few times, but she hadn't thought they were anything other than friends. At least it hadn't looked like that up until now. Anna felt like she'd been led on. In terms of appearance, she knew she wasn't as stunning as any of the Kingston girls. However, Elizabeth was not Garrett's type, so she couldn't understand why he would say that. Young people are free to fall in love with whoever they want, but I know Logan must be joking. You two better not make fun of Elizabeth. She is very innocent. If you keep fighting like this, she will be ashamed and cry. Miranda felt that this was a good opportunity to go with the flow and stand up for Elizabeth. Her words praised her daughters as if Logan wasn't getting engaged to Elizabeth because Garrett had ruined it. Indeed, if his girlfriend was chased by someone else, Logan might start regretting his rejection. Logan was very competitive, especially with his brother. Perhaps when he calmed down and thought about it, he would change his mind. Perhaps he would even hold a press conference in a few days and announce his engagement to Elizabeth, Miranda thought. Anything was possible. Miranda's tongue was covered in lies. She even gave a knowing look to the reporters to instruct them to pay attention for the wording when they published their articles later. Logan did not care about what was being said on the internet. He just ignored the press. Miranda could do what she wanted. The truth was the truth. The Kingstons, on the other hand, tried to control their press coverage. Chloe's subordinates had gathered a large number of internet trolls throughout the years who were taking care of the fan operation that Miranda had set up to protect Elizabeth in the entertainment industry. Whoever offended Elizabeth would be canceled by the trolls. They had it all planned. If Elizabeth offended anyone, Chloe would be the one to do the dirty work first. She would fabricate some fake news and then pressure the other party so much that they wouldn't be able to retaliate and would take their story down. If anything negative was caught on tape, they would quickly flood the internet and say that these were people who were jealous of Elizabeth and were trying to discredit her. That was how Elizabeth had been able to become a big star. Firstly, Logan had spent money to support her. Secondly, Chloe was doing her best to protect her younger sister. After all, Elizabeth's popularity went hand in hand with the future of the Kingston family. Miranda and Chloe maintained Elizabeth and the family's public image without mercy. Miranda knew that it was not the time to fall out with Logan yet. Furthermore, Miranda thought they still might have a chance to turn this around. What if they forced Elizabeth into a highly publicized relationship with Garrett in order to anger Logan? Therefore, Miranda forced herself not to express her true feelings right now. It was better to let the love triangle of Elizabeth, Logan, and Garrett play out. As parents, we can only give some advice from an outsider's perspective. We can't make a decision for you. Miranda smiled helplessly and held Charles's arm again. Just like Kenneth and George couldn't stop Violet from pursuing the freedom of love. The crowd began to whisper animatedly and expressed renewed interest in Elizabeth's love life. They wondered who Elizabeth would ultimately choose, which was annoying. It was as if Logan had never rejected Elizabeth. Garrett was delighted by the reaction and smiled meaningfully at Elizabeth. He didn't care about Anna's increasingly disappointed eyes. Miranda was indeed a good woman. She was very good at attracting trouble. Corey secretly sneered. Sorry, the children are tired. We should leave. Violet announced. She did not want to stay there for another minute. She wanted nothing more to do with this. What a coincidence. I'm here to pick you up. Noah and Haley had finally arrived. Haley should have been there a long time ago, but apparently something had happened and she hadn't been able to leave work early. Haley and Noah had thought that, with Logan around, the Kingstons wouldn't dare to do anything out of line. Clearly, they were wrong. Noah had felt uneasy all evening. He'd rushed to finish up his own business and had picked Haley up without even changing out of his work clothes. Fortunately, they hadn't arrived in time to witness the spectacle that had just transpired. Otherwise, with Haley's character, she would have definitely made a big scene. Violet was thrilled. Noah had arrived and could take them home. She just wanted to go home, apply some medicine on Amy's hand, and then go to sleep. She was exhausted. As for whether Logan was going to get engaged, Violet was too tired to care at the moment. However, Noah was not only here to pick her up, but he was also here to announce some news, so Violet couldn't leave just yet. Originally, Noah had planned to gradually unseal the shares that Kenneth Kingston had sealed in her trust fund and slowly let Violet manage them. But those plans had to change quite quickly now. So now, with everyone gathered together, Noah raised his voice and announced, "Before anyone leaves, perhaps you'd like to know who the most suitable successor to the Kingston Group actually is." The room went silent. Episode 114, The Kingston Heiress. Miranda recovered first from Noah's unexpected announcement and said proudly, "Well, certainly not Violet. She angered Kenneth to death, and her reputation has been ruined for years. How do you expect the Kingston Group's employees to trust her? The reputation of the company would be greatly damaged if she was to be associated with it. That's why Kenneth had a will." Noah smiled and looked at Logan, who was sitting with Violet and the two children. Although the scene was very pleasing to the eye, he couldn't help but sigh. If he didn't know them, he would think that this was a happy family of 4. But even such a beautiful scene could not stop Noah from being angry with Logan. Logan had been getting on his nerves more and more each day. For the sake of his own selfish desires, he had exposed Violet and the children in front of everyone, causing him to have to announce their plan ahead of time. And what for? Now, Noah had to let everyone know that the Kingston family and Violet were going to war with each other. At least now, if anything happened to Violet and the children, the Kingston family wouldn't be able to escape the consequences. Suspicion would immediately fall on them. Now that everything would be public, they had to be prepared and vigilant. He still couldn't believe that Logan would do his best to protect them. What if he just had a momentary interest in Violet and therefore her children? If Logan got bored with her and their relationship ended, they had to be ready. One should know how to save themselves, Noah thought. Miranda ridiculed them again, saying that Kenneth was angered to death by Violet, but that she still cared about her niece so much. She was really blind if she thought that Kenneth hadn't thought to make arrangements for his favorite granddaughter. In reality, the old man had indeed left a considerable amount of wealth and property to every granddaughter, but Miranda's appetite was too big, and she hadn't liked it. She wanted it all for herself. In the past, Miranda had been kept in check by Violet's parents, who always kept a close eye on her. However, after they'd passed away, she'd been set free to do as she pleased, stepping on anyone who got in her way. Miranda was outraged. Was Noah suggesting that Violet deserved to inherit the Kingston group more than Charles? That was just ridiculous. Charles was also Kenneth's biological child. Why had Kenneth only cared about protecting his younger son's family and not his eldest? Charles was the eldest son and the rightful heir to the Kingston shares. So even though Miranda had killed his father after throwing a tantrum, she didn't regret it. Instead, she'd covered it up. She'd told the public that Kenneth had died of an illness that had no cure. If Kenneth was still alive, he would still be living a carefree life. He would be playing golf and socializing with friends at his club. He had never deprived himself of anything, but he'd always been careful with his money and passed that knowledge down to his children. After all, he had worked hard to grow his business and his wealth. Miranda had to loosen up a little, untighten the purse strings, and give them additional benefits. Most people who had status and money didn't really care about anything else. They always wanted more, and Miranda was no exception. Therefore, she knew that Charles would definitely side with her. She could not lose everything she'd gotten used to having by now. That was why the Kingston family had steadfastly refused to acknowledge Kenneth's will. They weren't going to let Noah trick them. Kenneth's will stated when Violet got engaged, all of his shares were to be transferred to the Golden Foundation for her. Until then, Noah would be in charge of them. However, due to the interference of the Kingstons, many shares had been transferred to Miranda, so none of the profits had even transferred to the Golden Foundation's account for many years. Therefore, Violet hadn't received a single cent from her inheritance. It was no wonder that her life was so miserable. She had been relying on Noah and Haley for a long time. It was only after she gave an interview at the Smith Group and started working as Logan's secretary that her life turned for the better. Noah had no choice but to temporarily freeze part of the shares until he'd taken back the portion that was stolen. When that happened, he would hand them all over to Violet. But who in Los Angeles would want to be engaged to Violet? unless she's accepted by our family and repents for her previous frivolous actions. No one will want to be with her." Miranda was not pleased. And then there were still those two little burdens. Miranda looked at the two children. Indeed, they looked very similar to Logan. She would have to do a DNA test before anyone realized the truth. Then she would think of a way to send the two children far away. She couldn't let Logan become suspicious. "I don't need to trouble you to think about this, Miranda. When Kenneth was young, he had arranged a child marriage with someone. But something happened between them and caused them to lose contact. When Violet and Lionel were dating, Kenneth told her about his plan." "What did he tell her again?" "He was really worried about his granddaughter, yes, but unfortunately, he was still angered to death by her." Miranda scoffed. "Some people do actually know how Kenneth really died. Don't casually talk down on others as if everyone is a fool." Haley could not bear it any longer. She was not Violet and wasn't able to tolerate it. So she opened her mouth to argue with Miranda. "You just came out of nowhere and are pointing fingers at us while snooping around the matters of our family? How dare you?" Miranda yelled. "It's just an objective evaluation. I don't want to see you twist the truth." Haley rolled her eyes. Logan looked at her and thought that she was a very loyal friend to Violet, and he could tell that she truly cared about the children. "Someone come and take this strange woman out." Miranda was not polite at all. "That is my friend you're insulting," Violet protested. "Whatever, it's not a big deal. It's not worth calling security. Forget it," Logan said. Haley seemed to be very protective of Adam and Amy, so he didn't mind sticking up for her. Miranda could only give up and fiercely glared at Haley. She then frowned at Elizabeth and felt that her daughter was looking a little lost. She was not as quick-witted as Chloe, and did not seem to be able to hold Logan's interest. She had to think of a way to fix this whole mess. "Noah, continue." Logan raised his finger to instruct Noah to go on. "All right, let's continue. It's fine if Violet and Lionel haven't fulfilled Kenneth Kingston's last wish. However, now we have to help her find a marriage partner, which will last for at least 2 years. Noah cleared his throat. "What if we still can't find her a husband?" Logan asked. "Then Violet will choose her own partner." That meant that Violet would be in charge of everything. Noah's words attracted a wave of whispers. This temptation was indeed quite big. Every man suddenly was looking at Violet with fresh eyes. Even Corey felt that if it wasn't for the fact that his boss would kill him, he could have gone for it. Violet was a beautiful woman, and she seemed nice enough. And she also was about to inherit an obscene amount of money. What wasn't there to like? Corey found the idea truly tempting. Violet, however, seemed unfazed. She did not hold any hope for this marriage. She had 2 children she had to focus on, and the relationship between her and Logan was complicated, to say the least. After tonight, everyone was going to believe that she was Logan's mistress. Who would want to marry her? Episode 115. Otherwise Engaged. Violet's life was very complicated. What man was going to want to marry her, especially given the situation with Logan? Besides, she despised all frivolous rich men, especially the ones who looked like gentlemen, like Lionel. They would tell her they loved her, then stab her in the back for her money in a heartbeat. It would be better for her to continue to live a quiet and tranquil life by herself. She would be satisfied with just having her children. As for the shares, she would let Noah help manage them. In any case, her only goal was to avenge her grandfather. She didn't really care about anything else. Her grandfather had previously said that if the family wanted to prosper, they would have to pay a huge price, and she didn't think that she had the ability to bring the Kingston group to glory. After Charles and Miranda received their retribution, she would find a quiet place to spend the rest of her days away from Los Angeles and away from all those who held grudges against her. Marrying Violet means obtaining more than half of the Kingston group. Interesting. Garrett lowered his voice while he spoke to Lionel. Did you already know about Kenneth Kingston's last wish, or did you just find out like the rest of us? Lionel's eyes were dark and unclear. He didn't answer Garrett's question directly. Now, we can't say for sure which side fate is on. Until we reach the end of this story, no one knows how this will all turn out. That's true. So, Lionel, what do you think? Lionel didn't say anything. He looked at Garrett and just nodded. Miranda naturally didn't treat Noah's words as a threat. Instead, she blamed him for deliberately coming to the banquet to throw everything into disarray. She did not take this pathetic lawyer seriously. The Kingstons were still aligned with Logan. Did he really wish to fight against all of them? Noah did not want to continue the discussion at the banquet. Anyway, they would have plenty of time to fight in the future. Tonight's purpose was to let everyone know that Violet was the legal successor of the Kingston family. Since Logan evidently did not want to be engaged, naturally, no one dared to question his silence. However, Logan seemed to know what everyone was thinking, and so to take the attention off himself, he reminded Miranda not to forget about the joyous event that was still to be announced tonight. When she heard his words, Elizabeth was furious to the point that she felt like killing someone. The joyous event wasn't a joyous event anymore. Was Logan trying to provoke her? The only joyous event would have been their own engagement announcement. Oh, if Logan didn't mention it, I would have forgotten. Look at my memory. Miranda clapped her hands and quickly announced Lionel and Chloe's marriage plans. Then she also announced that she would promote Lionel to a director position. Everybody could see how satisfied Miranda was with her soon-to-be son-in-law. This news was indeed a joyous event for Lionel, so he tried his best to squeeze out a smile. Chloe happily came over to hold Lionel's arm and brought him to the center of the crowd. Everyone was expressing their blessings to Lionel, but his eyes were secretly focusing on Violet and Logan. Lionel, are you happy? You'll be busier than ever in the future, so you definitely won't have time to see me as much anymore. Chloe purposely acted spoiled in front of Violet. No, Lionel will definitely spare some time to be with you, Chloe. Elizabeth forced a smile when she saw the congratulatory gift Corey presented them with on behalf of the Smith Group. Her smile became even more forced. This kind of glory could have belonged to her. However, perhaps Violet was sad about this news as well. Lionel had been her childhood sweetheart, after all. Thinking of this, Elizabeth's mood improved slightly. She took a deep breath and calmed down a little. She was prepared to go and have a good chat with Billy the next day. She looked at Logan pitifully. He nodded at her and stood up, grabbing his coat. Elizabeth knew that he was going to leave. All the things that should have been done have been done. I'm going home. Logan told the people around him, including Violet, Haley, Noah, and poor Anna, who looked as if she had lost her soul. If you're not ready to leave yet, ask Mr. Carter to take you home when you're ready. Logan told Anna. Why was she staring at Garrett? Didn't Anna see that Garrett didn't return her affections? Garrett's entire being was unfathomable, and his thoughts were hard to grasp. Logan didn't want the innocent Anna to be hurt. Although their relationship wasn't very deep, they were still family. After trembling in fear of the Alexander family for so many years, if his grandmother got annoyed at Anna because of Garrett, then Logan wouldn't be able to save her. I want to wait for Garrett to leave with me. Anna was distraught, but wishful. You shouldn't. Logan was a little angry. Why was his sister so stubborn and disobedient? He wanted to argue with her, but Violet put her hand on Logan's arm and made him restrain his temper. She is not a child anymore. She has her own thoughts. Let her go. Violet whispered to Logan. Anna, should I call you tomorrow? Although she could not do anything else, Violet could still call to check in on her. Okay, thank you. Anna was not in the mood to socialize anymore, so she nodded her head without thinking. Mr. Carter, you will be waiting for Anna tonight. It's late, but make sure Agnes knows when she's arrived home. But don't let Anna find out. Corey lowered his voice as he instructed his subordinate. The man received his orders and went to wait in the car. Well, it looks like you accomplished everything you came here to do. Everyone seems unhappy. Noah chatted with Logan on their way out. Yes, it seems like a fun evening was had by all. Logan replied. You won't have any friends if you act like this. Oh, is that right? Logan smiled. At least you have an estate manager now. That's something. Noah shook his head helplessly. Noah didn't think Logan cared much about his reputation. In fact, he would probably never lack friends. Everyone wanted rich and powerful friends like Logan. In the minds of most, it would be a great honor to be one of his friends. It was a rare thing for children of wealthy families to value relationships. Loyalty was rare. No wonder Violet had despised Logan at the beginning. However, after such a long time, their relationship had obviously changed a lot. He looked at Violet beside him. Noah hoped that she would not pour too much emotion into Logan. Logan and the Alexander family were not that easy to get along with. As they walked outside, Violet looked back and saw Chloe and Elizabeth standing at the foot of the porch, glaring at her. Chloe's eyes seemed to be burning with rage. It was like she was bullying the Kingston family. Tomorrow, those silly tabloids and social media platforms would most likely discredit her. This was probably the price she had to pay for getting Logan's protection. Luckily, she was already used to having a reputation of being a frivolous and promiscuous woman, so she didn't care about being blacklisted anymore. Noah drove Violet all the way back to Logan's home. Logan invited Noah and Haley to stay the night, but Noah declined. Haley had a lot of things she wanted to say to Violet, but when she saw that her friend's entire mind was on her children, Haley decided it was best she drop the subject for now. They would stay to help settle the children. Then Noah and Haley would leave. Episode 116, House Call. Miranda had injured Amy's wrist even worse than they had originally thought. Haley let the events of the evening go, for now, and helped Violet find the medicinal oil. She gave Amy's wrist a good massage, while Violet told Logan and Noah they needed a doctor. Logan and Noah both immediately took out their phones and sent messages. As Noah and Haley were leaving, they met the middle-aged doctor who had just arrived at the door. Noah seemed to recognize him. The doctor nodded and greeted him. Haley went to the car and asked Noah who the doctor was. Noah was briefly silent, then said, "I hired a doctor to look after Kenneth when he was sick. Later, Miranda found an excuse to fire him. Also, he's Logan's private doctor." I remember Logan's private doctor being a handsome young man. The doctor at the Central Hospital, Dr. Cooper. Haley thought of the tall, funny doctor she had met when she visited Violet and the two children in the hospital. Noah thought for a moment and grinned. "Violet needs a husband. Maybe we set her up with Dr. Cooper." Haley rolled her eyes at him, but smiled. "I mean, Violet finding a new guy to marry might not be the worst idea," Haley said. "Well, she won't accept Adam and Amy's father. Lionel betrayed her and is untrustworthy, so he's out. It probably would be best for her to start a new relationship," Noah explained. "It's a good idea, but there's no telling how that will go." There were too many uncertainties. Even if Logan found that he wanted more with Violet, who could guarantee the future? "Well, we will always protect her. Am I right?" Noah looked over at Haley, and Haley looked over at him. Her cheeks were a little red, but she nodded heavily. The word "we" actually made her feel excited for a moment. Violet couldn't believe Logan actually took Amy's injury seriously and called a private doctor at such an odd hour. This doctor had treated her grandfather, and Violet trusted him. She thought back on what Miranda had said about George, the Kingston's former butler, and her eyes became misty. She had seized on the opportunity to ask Miranda tonight about what had happened to George. Had he been fired because George had let her escape? Was he targeted because of her? Was the old butler in danger? After all, Charles and Miranda had dared to kill once. What else were they capable of? Do you know where George is?" Violet asked. The doctor had known George back then. "George met Kenneth when he was young. George left his hometown and came to Los Angeles with Kenneth. After so many years, I don't know if he would have any family left. I wonder what kind of life he has now." Violet was anxious, thinking that George might be suffering. She wished she could immediately jump on a plane and go find him. No matter what, she had to go find him and offer her help. George had helped Violet when she needed a friend. No matter what, she needed to do something after ruining the life he had built for himself in Los Angeles. He had been exiled for helping her, after all. It seemed that Miranda and Charles had forced George to go into hiding, or worse. No one wanted to die. Violet was the eldest Kingston daughter, so she could only be forced to leave her home. For an employee who had lost his protection and helped Violet escape, the treatment he received would obviously be much worse. Violet unconsciously raised her head to look at Logan. She did not notice that her face was full of anxiety and pleading. Logan ignored her for now and only cared about asking the doctor if Amy's wrist was all right. His face was still cold, but there was some detectable warmth in it. The doctor said to apply some medicine. Over the next few days, she would have to keep her wrist dry and not use it much. She would be fine after a week. Logan and Violet finally breathed a sigh of relief. The doctor looked at Logan strangely. It was rare. Since when did Logan care so much about helping other people? He'd had a rough childhood, growing up without a father. It was unexpectedly kind of him to have called a doctor. It was interesting that Logan had insisted he come this late. Corey came in from the side hall. He had finished making some calls in the small study and was ready to take his leave. Logan would let Amy rest at home for a few days. Violet would stay with her. Since Violet had been promoted to Logan's estate manager, her duties were primarily at Logan's home now anyway. Corey said he would get Drake to cover for Violet during the transition. Drake can handle it. I will arrange it. Drake will be fine covering for Violet. He's eager and smart. Not that we won't miss you, Violet. The office won't be the same. Corey smiled at her. Violet shook her head in embarrassment. In fact, when she first started working for Logan, she had caused Corey a lot of problems. Fortunately, she adapted well and made a few contributions early on, which allowed her to gain a foothold in the Smith group. Then I can stay at home and play with Mommy? Although Amy's wrist was very painful, she could rest at home and have her mommy keep her company. How fun! But Amy couldn't bear to be apart from her brother. Can Adam stay home too? Amy held her brother's hand. No need. My hand is not injured. Adam wrapped his sister's good hand in his palm. But the teacher will not care. Amy insisted. He can't skip school for no reason. What will the teacher say? Violet stated. Mommy, please. Amy begged Violet to excuse her brother from school and let Adam stay at home with her. Luckily, Logan mediated and said that Adam was right and was being a responsible young boy. Amy finally gave up. Adam, who was initially sad because he did not protect his sister well that night, heard Logan's praise and immediately cheered up. A shy smile appeared on his face. The doctor and Corey were both amazed. Logan was very patient with the two children. He comforted and persuaded them. Even as adults, they felt warmth in their hearts. If Logan ever got married, he might be a model husband and father. One should not judge a book by its cover. A cold face could hide a warm heart. Corey was especially happy. He had good taste. Logan was grumpy, but deep down he had a heart. At that moment, he almost forgot that Logan also had a very bad temper and was an extremely difficult man to work for. If Violet knew what Corey was thinking, she would have simply rolled her eyes. In any case, Corey wasn't the one who was intimidated and criticized by Logan every day. Violet obviously wanted to find George, so the doctor gave her a way to contact him and asked her to reach out. It was the information of an old friend who used to play chess with Kenneth. Maybe he would know George's address. Logan used 2 fingers to pick up the note and put it in his pocket. Episode 117. Come here. After Violet coaxed Adam and Amy to sleep, she went to find Logan. Tonight was his fault. If he hadn't insisted on Violet bringing Adam and Amy to the Kingston banquet, Amy wouldn't have been injured. But at tonight's banquet, not only had Logan let everyone know that he would be protecting her and the children going forward, but he'd also announced his future plans, which relieved a lot of the pressure on Violet. Can I count on you not stopping Noah from helping me take back the shares? Violet stood at the door of his study and asked softly. Logan, sitting in front of his computer, looked up at her. His face looked cold as ever, but she saw a passion in his eyes. The look in his eyes made Violet unable to hate him in spite of her suffering. Logan could not pay attention to the documents he was reading. Seeing her leaning against the door, he took off his glasses, pressed between his eyebrows, and waved at her. "Come here." His tone was unquestionable. Violet shyly walked over. When she reached his desk, Logan grabbed her hand, pulling her closer to him. She trembled slightly. "It was my negligence." "What?" Violet looked up in confusion. "Amy's injury." Violet also hadn't noticed what Miranda had done. "Oh, I am also responsible. I should have known better." Violet did not expect him to take the blame and was somewhat moved by his concern. "I have already sent people to investigate." "Investigate what?" Violet could not keep up with Logan's train of thought. "It can't be a coincidence. When you left, someone came to talk to you. The children were lured away at the same time." "And if the Kingston family did do it?" Violet asked him. "Then I'll make sure they don't dare to do it again." What do you want to do?" Violet pulled her hands back and did not twitch when he pinched her. "Lightly, be gentle." "I know. I am not Miranda." Logan encircled Violet's delicate hand in his palm and pulled her into his arms. Violet stumbled and fell into his lap. She pressed against the man's chest and felt his deep and steady heartbeat. The temperature in the room suddenly increased. Violet's face immediately turned red. "Don't try to distract me. You haven't answered my question." What question?" Logan pretended not to understand. "Really?" Why was Logan playing dumb? Why wouldn't he just answer her? Logan saw the irritation on Violet's face and secretly laughed. "It's about the shares. You didn't say anything to the Kingston family tonight. Does that mean you won't stop me?" Violet asked. "Does it have anything to do with me?" Logan didn't care who the Kingston family belonged to. "But don't hurt them." After all, he still had some responsibility for Elizabeth. Because of that night, he had to ensure that she did not have to worry about her family's future. "But they agree to my request." Logan pried open her fingers one by one and intertwined them with his. He played with Violet's fingers lazily. This affectionate action made Violet's mind go blank. She completely forgot what she and Logan were discussing. I don't know," she stammered. There were some things that she was not willing to agree to. Violet had caused the death of her grandfather. Logan did not understand this. In the future, when the truth was finally revealed, would he object to her taking revenge? Her grandfather had been the person closest to her. She had to avenge his death. "All right, then let's not talk about this anymore." "What?" Violet was in a daze. "Let's talk about Elizabeth. We are not engaged, and we will not be engaged in the future," Logan explained. Oh? Violet muttered. What did this have to do with her? "Satisfied?" "Why do you say that? I don't care about your personal business." "Really?" Logan asked. "Really?" Violet exclaimed. "Do you like to share your man with others?" Logan did not seem to be satisfied with Violet's answer. He lightly squeezed her thin waist. Violet was ticklish and could not help but laugh out loud. Don't, please. She pressed Logan's hand tightly and stared into his eyes. The man moved closer and bit the corner of her lips. Violet could not help but laugh. She did not know whether it was because Logan would not be engaged to Elizabeth or because this overbearing and cold man would not hinder Noah's plan, or because of the love bite he had just given her. But Violet felt her desire building. I will not object to what you guys do. At most, I will help you clean up your mess, Logan stated. Violet thought about it and agreed. Thank you. Noah will be very happy. I can't wait to tell him the good news. As long as Logan did not try to stop him, Noah would encounter less resistance in their fight. He could just focus on dealing with the Kingston family. Talking about other men in front of me? Logan frowned and was a little jealous. Although he knew that Noah and Violet's relationship could not be any more platonic, he was still a little unhappy. Violet was not as submissive and demure as people thought. This woman could easily throw his emotions into disorder. Not that that was necessarily a bad thing. When he was in a good mood, he enjoyed teasing her. She made his life more interesting, that was for sure. Aren't you afraid that I will get angry? Why would you get angry about my talking about Noah? Didn't we negotiate that he was the one man I was allowed to talk to? Violet retorted. There was a lot of uncertainty in the air. It was almost unnatural for them to have a conversation without their usual squabbling. Judging from your tone, you think I am not gracious enough. Logan stroked her cheek with his thumb. She had been wronged today, so Logan found himself wanting to give her some comfort. Do you want my help finding George? Of course. Violet immediately sat up straight between Logan's legs. She did not feel that this position was too intimate. She gripped Logan's shoulders tightly. Will you help me? She had seen that Logan had taken the doctor's note earlier. At the time, she thought that he was against her looking for George. Now it seemed that he would help. That depends on your performance tonight. Logan stared at her with a burning gaze. Violet hesitated, but she was deeply tempted by this condition. As long as she threw caution to the wind and let herself go, she could save George. Besides Logan, no one else could help her. She took a deep breath and stared at Logan's slightly cold lips. Her eyes closed and her eyelashes trembled. Violet gently leaned forward and kissed him. She let her kiss show him all the emotions she could not express. It was a night without rest. Violet thought that she would completely melt into Logan's body. She thought she might die from the pleasure. However, late the next morning, she awoke safe and sound, and alone. Violet was surprised to find she was no longer in Logan's bed, but her own. He was gone. Episode 118. A Room of Her Own. Violet woke up in her own room. It was the bedroom Logan had reluctantly asked his staff to prepare for her at her insistence. Why was she not in Logan's room? When she had spent the night with Logan previously, he had always insisted she stay. She had worried that the twins would discover them in his bedroom together, but he had been unconcerned. What had changed? She thought about it and decided she was overthinking this. Logan must have decided he did not wish for the children to discover the relationship between the two of them. so he had simply carried her to her room before leaving for work. Logan was respecting her wishes for discretion. This was a good thing. Since the two of them seemed to be in agreement now on this point, at least for a period of time, they would not arouse Adam and Amy's suspicion. She was just Logan's estate manager, helping to take care of his home and personal business. And then she remembered the events of the previous night. Logan had agreed to help bring George back as soon as possible. She had so many things she wanted to say to her old friend. She took a quick shower and then went downstairs to see if there was anything she could help with. Zoe saw her coming and quickly came up to her to ask if she was hungry. There was a hot corn chowder in the kitchen and she could immediately bring it up. "Is there anything I could do? I want to help," Violet asked. "No need. We will take care of the housework, Miss Kingston. Please, just relax," Zoe replied. Don't you need to have the trees in the courtyard trimmed? Did you find a new arborist to do it yet?" Violet inquired. Zoe felt this was strange. What was Miss Kingston trying to do? Why was she getting involved in household affairs? Zoe was a little put out. She wasn't used to discussing the details of her duty with anyone other than Mr. Alexander, who hadn't mentioned anything to her about this. "Oh, and Zoe, where is my daughter?" Violet did not hear Amy's voice. Her child was very noisy. If she was here, Amy would definitely not be this quiet. "Are you talking about Miss Amy?" Zoe asked respectfully, and Violet was not used to it. "Zoe, please, just call her Amy. You don't need to be so formal with us. We are all living here, and we are relying on you to take care of us. Just call us by our first names," Violet said. "I would prefer to call you Miss Kingston, Miss Kingston." Zoe felt uncomfortable calling her by her first name. If Logan heard her, he would not be happy. Violet sighed internally, but decided to compromise since she didn't want to make Zoe uncomfortable. "Okay, if you prefer, that's fine for me. But please call the children by their first names. They're not used to so much formality." "But Mr. Alexander, he will not object. I'll talk to him." She'd get Logan to agree. She was in charge of his estate and its workings now, after all. She couldn't see Logan fighting her on such a trivial matter. "All right, I understand." Zoe smiled. Mr. Alexander took Amy to the office. "He did?" Violet couldn't hide her surprise. "Why didn't you tell me?" "I saw that you weren't awake yet, so I let you sleep a little longer." Violet's face turned red. Seeing as the staff knew that she had lost the morning to sleep, she knew that they also must know what she and Logan had been up doing all night. She wanted to strangle that detestable man. Okay, well, yes. Thank you." Violet quickly changed the subject. "I'll hurry up and eat something, then go to the Smith group. I'm afraid that Amy will cause too much trouble and disturb Logan's work." "Okay, I will prepare it for you right away." Zoe went to the kitchen, and Violet straightened her clothes. She did not know how Zoe and Lee viewed her, and she hoped that they wouldn't think badly of her given the nature of her relationship with their employer. There was also still Agnes to consider. She didn't know if Agnes knew about last night's banquet yet, but given the evening's events, Violet wouldn't be surprised if the word had spread to her. Agnes would definitely be opposed to Violet and the children moving in to Logan's house. Violet herself still didn't know how she felt about their new living arrangement. She certainly hadn't done a good job of distancing herself from Logan. Violet felt that once Agnes found out, she would definitely make her feelings about their living situation known. Lee came back while she was eating, followed by Noah. "Miss Kingston, look who has come to see you." Lee's attitude was reserved but respectful. She was a very straightforward woman. "Are you eating?" Noah saw that Violet seemed no worse for wear after last night's chaos. She just seemed a bit nervous. Lee served him some iced tea, and Noah sat down at the dining table to chat with Violet. "Why don't you have some too, instead of watching me eat like this?" Zoe's corn chowder was delicious. "I have already eaten. I am not hungry, but please, eat yours. Don't mind me. When you're finished, I will take you to the law firm," Noah said. "I am going to the Smith Group. Logan took Amy with him to work today," Violet replied. Noah said that they could go to his law firm first to take care of a few things, and then go to the Smith Group. "I won't keep you very long, and Amy is so well behaved. Her presence there will not affect anything. You are being too nervous." In Noah's opinion, Adam and Amy were the most obedient children in the world. "Really?" Violet touched her face. "You can tell I'm nervous." "Are we not good friends? Of course I can tell when you're nervous. We have known each other forever." Noah smiled dotingly. "I'm concerned about what will happen next. I feel uneasy after last night." Violet couldn't help it. It felt like a storm was brewing. "You're right to feel uneasy. It means that you're being realistic. It's always a good idea to stay alert no matter what." Noah praised her with a smile. "But it's been so many years, and I still have not achieved anything. If it wasn't for you and Haley, I don't know what we would have done. You are still supporting me." Ever since his announcement at the Kingston family's banquet, Noah had forgotten about his anger toward Violet. Noah knew Violet needed him more than ever right now. He had promised Kenneth that he would protect Violet until she had the ability to protect herself, and he planned to keep his promise. However, given the current situation, it was fortunate that Logan didn't have a personal interest in the fight for the shares. When Noah left with Violet, Lee looked at the door for a long time before returning to the living room. She was cleaning off the coffee table as she rambled, saying that when she went to buy groceries today, someone had actually asked her if she knew what was going around the gossip mill. "What did they say?" Zoe asked curiously. "He said that Mr. Alexander seemed completely taken by Violet, almost like he'd been drugged, and would do whatever Violet said." "Do you think I should tell Mr. Alexander what I heard?" "I think Violet is quite nice. Mr. Alexander has been smiling a lot recently. Besides, anyone confronting you about gossip like that is just fishing for information. Ignore them." Zoe did not agree with Lee. "He seems to love her children. Could it be that our boss wants to be their future stepfather?" Lee asked. "What's wrong with that? I think those two little kids are angels. Have you noticed how much Mr. Alexander dotes on them?" Zoe replied. Lee thought about what Alex had said to her about keeping him in the loop of what went on in Logan's house. Maybe Logan would get bored with Violet. She decided not to say anything and let Mr. Alexander enjoy life for now. This could all blow over. "It's good that Mr. Alexander likes them," Zoe continued. "Did you see how he took Adam to school and then Amy to his office?" "Yes," Lee sighed. "He treats them as if they were his own." Episode 119, Strategy Session. Noah took Violet to his law office. He'd asked the general manager of the Golden Foundation to come today to talk to them about Kenneth's shares. Violet had to first give Noah official authorization before he could take any further steps to help her take back the shares. They then spoke about the next steps. Some of them are in Miranda's and Charles's hands, but they must be in the management of professional organizations. I won't take them, but the board of directors can still use the shares they have to make decisions. The most important thing right now is to make Miranda lose her decision-making power. Naturally, there will be opposition to Violet coming back, so we'll have to proceed with caution. We will have to make the board see that your coming back is a good decision for the company, and that Miranda is not the company's future. And we need to make them feel as if they hold some power. Violet lightly nodded her head. The board already knew Charles and Miranda's weaknesses. Violet would remain aloof and a bit mysterious, but someone who could bring about change. This would make some of the Kingston Group board members feel that she should be the company's future, and they would value her more during this fight. If it wasn't for the guidance of the Smith Group, the Kingston Group would not be as strong as it currently was. Miranda was well aware of this, so she would not give up her connection to Logan easily. As long as there was a chance, she would continue to urge Elizabeth to do her best to snag Logan. I will get my people working on the details. There will be news about it in a week. When the time comes, we will meet again and see what we should do. The Golden Foundation manager said. Fortunately, Logan promised not to interfere. That is a positive first step. Noah said with relief. Violet nodded in agreement. Haley would be very happy when she heard this. Haley was worried about Violet being taken advantage of, but if her relationship with Logan helped Violet get back her shares, she would consider that Violet had taken advantage of Logan, not the other way around. Violet was starting to feel a bit hopeful again after all the recent drama. Her mood was improving. Noah noticed this change in Violet. Her fighting spirit and energy seemed to be returning. This was who Violet was. She knew how to make fun of herself in the midst of suffering. She worked hard to find life's silver linings. No wonder Kenneth had decided she would be the heir of the Kingston Group. She indeed had a kind of toughness that was rare and unique. The conversation went on for nearly an hour. Some plans were finalized, and some documents would be prepped for Violet to sign next week. At that time, she would have to personally go to the Golden Foundation. It's all right, I'll go with you. Noah knew that Violet was in a precarious situation. Logan had not arranged any bodyguards for her. Noah would only be able to relax if he went with her. This whole process is not going to be cheap, and the fees need to be settled each step of the way. Will Violet be able to afford this? The manager asked Noah. Can't we wait for the shares to be returned and use the profits to offset these costs? Noah knew that the fees would not total an insignificant amount. I'm afraid that's not possible. The people working on this are contractors that need to be paid weekly. People have their own bills to pay, unfortunately, and can't wait on payment. The manager replied. It's all right, I'll cover the fees. Money is not a problem. Noah was being very generous. Violet did not have any money. Now that she was at Logan's, her basic needs were being covered by him. He did not ask Violet to spend money, but they had just moved in. For the last few years, she had been taking care of the children on her own. They had extracurricular activities and school expenses. After these and basic living expenses, there was never any money left over at the end of each month. Violet really had no savings, and the little she did have was for the children's education. Haley and Noah had always been generous with their time and resources, but Violet didn't want to burden her friends. They had their own lives to take care of. "Noah, you can't do that. You and Haley work hard." Violet felt very guilty and that she was always troubling her friends. "Then why don't you think of it as a loan? When you have access to your money again, you can pay me back," Noah replied. "Okay, that's good. I'll consider it a loan. But when the time comes, you better allow me to pay you back. No arguments." Violet felt a little better now. Who would say no to money? No matter how much you give, we will take it. Noah laughed. Then you and Haley can get engaged. Violet stopped herself. She was thinking that it would be best if she could pay them back quickly, so that her friends wouldn't have to postpone their plans to get engaged. Now is not the time to talk about all that. We are both focused on our careers at the moment anyway, and helping you, of course. We aren't ready to get married and start a family. You both already have successful careers. I think you should consider taking your relationship to the next level," Violet stated. "That won't do. Right now, helping you is the most important thing. I'll have a talk with Haley. It's not like it's just my decision anyway. Let's wait until I've spoken to her." Noah smiled. "Can't you take initiative?" Violet did not agree. Okay. I will take initiative, but the most important thing hasn't been done yet. When you are settled, I will focus on my personal life. Deal? Noah strikes a deal. My life shouldn't cause you to put your life on hold. It shouldn't affect you at all. Violet felt that she was rambling. She wanted to immediately see engagement rings on Noah and Haley's fingers and start planning their wedding. Haley was a catch. She was smart, beautiful, loyal, and successful. She would be the perfect partner. Violet didn't want Noah to wait too long and miss his chance. But Noah wasn't thinking like that. He was focused on his promise to Kenneth to take care of Violet. Until that was done and Violet was happy, he couldn't worry about his own personal life. He was not focused on himself right now. He also believed that if it was true love with Haley, then nothing would stand in their way, even waiting. Now stop worrying about me and Haley. You should be more concerned about yourself. Although you are living with Logan now, you still have to be careful of the Kingston family members betraying you. On the surface, because of Logan's protection, the Kingston family would not dare go after Violet. But if the Kingstons grew desperate enough, who knew what they might do? The Kingston group and the Laurie group are now working together, Noah added. Do you mean Garrett? Asked Violet. That's right. You already know that his relationship with Logan is very complicated, said Noah. How could the Kingston group have the audacity to do business with the Gardner family? Violet wondered aloud. They are all operating in Los Angeles. As for the Alexander family, Agnes also advocates for building a good relationship with the Gardners. That's why Logan sometimes has no choice but to do business with his brother. Really? Logan doesn't seem like he would let anyone force him to do anything. Violet was a little surprised. She thought that Logan, who was so arrogant, would never have to compromise with anyone. It made her a little uncomfortable knowing that some things were out of even Logan's control. No one in this world can have absolute freedom, even Logan Alexander. Noah turned around and looked at her. But don't feel sorry for Logan. When he does business with the Gardner family, other than his mood being slightly affected by having to deal with his brother, he won't suffer any losses. That's true. He is still Logan, after all. Violet let out a long breath. In Violet's heart, between letting Logan suffer a loss and seeing him dominate others, she would still choose the latter. She could not bear to see him in a bad mood. She shouldn't ever feel sorry for him. He was an obscenely rich and powerful titan of business. He was grumpy and impatient and awful to work for. What was wrong with her? Was she starting to have feelings for her boss? Noah looked at his friend's puzzled expression out of the corner of his eye and smiled. He stepped on the accelerator and sped towards the Smith group. Episode 120. Why her? Anna had been in a bad mood since last night. Her date with Garrett to the Kingston banquet had been a disaster. She had followed him around all night, but he hadn't seemed to care. And then, if that wasn't bad enough, Garrett had announced to the world his intention to pursue Elizabeth. He'd done so much with her standing there holding his arm. Garrett did not have any obligation to explain to Anna his actions because he'd never made any promises to her. But she didn't care. She wanted answers, and she'd come to his house tonight to get them. "Garrett, do you really like Elizabeth?" Anna questioned. "Who?" Garrett had just sat down in his study to read over some documents when Anna stormed in. She hadn't even said hello. She just started questioning him. Unlike Anna, he'd been thrilled with how the banquet went. In terms of business, a relationship with Elizabeth could be invaluable. She was both a big star and a part of the Kingston family. If he could get to her, he would get a lot of benefits. However, if he wanted to anger Logan, he would have to start with Violet. He had seen the way his brother had looked at Violet last night. The complicated emotions in Logan's eyes indicated that he not only desired Violet, but might even have real feelings for her. "Who?" Anna was flabbergasted. "Garrett, what do you mean, who? Didn't you say at the banquet that you wanted to pursue Elizabeth since Logan was rejecting her?" The man in front of her seemed to have lost his memory. Was she going crazy? Could she have misheard Garrett? Could it all have been just a really bad dream? "I say a lot of things. Why do you always remember such unimportant details? And why are you here again? Don't you listen? Go home." Garrett gave up on getting any work done. He threw down the pen in his hand, closed the documents, and stood up to leave. He expected that Elizabeth would reject him. The Kingston family would not give up on Logan so easily. Until Logan married the love of his life, Elizabeth would not give up trying to catch him. On the surface, Elizabeth and Logan were a perfect match given their wealth and backgrounds. And Logan had stayed with her all these years, ignoring all offers to set him up with other women. "Garrett, where are you going?" Anna didn't care if his demeanor was cold or not. She didn't care if she was making him angry and following him out of the study and into the hall. "I'm going to sleep. Are you going to follow me into bed too? Tuck me in? You are acting like a child." Garrett was annoyed to death with Anna. She had been following him since they were kids, and he couldn't shake her no matter how hard he tried. "Garrett, answer me. You haven't answered my question yet." Anna was eager to know if he was really going to go after Elizabeth. What did Garrett like about her? Could Anna use it as a reference? If she had the same characteristics, would Garrett look at her differently? When the two of them were together, would he smile a little more? "What are you doing? Why are you making so much noise?" Garrett lived with his grandmother in the Gardner family home. His grandmother, Sarah, would not hesitate to interfere in his personal life, and he didn't want Anna to wake her. Anna was always over lately, and he knew the staff had been reporting on their interactions to Sarah. "Anna is here, I see." A voice emerged. Garrett groaned internally. Too late. "Hello, Grandma." Garrett greeted Sarah, who was standing at the bottom of the stairs. "Why are you still up? You need your rest." "How can I sleep with the racket you're making? If you have anything to discuss it properly. Don't be so loud. Anna is a proper young lady, so please restrain your temper." In his grandmother's heart, Garrett was still a child. "Your mother only cared about going out, not staying home and teaching her son any manners. I will talk to her about this." Sarah and Garrett's mother, Joanna, did not get along at all. Sarah's daughter-in-law was not someone she could control. Fortunately, since his father's death, Joanna constantly had new boyfriends, so she traveled a lot. Garrett knew Joanna really cared about him. She had always spoiled Garrett, giving him whatever he wanted. Too bad she had also given him his brother, Logan. "Thank you, Grandma Sarah, for helping me." Anna smiled at Sarah. She felt much better now that someone was speaking up for her. Her own grandmother didn't like her, so when she came to the Gardner house, she always made a point of visiting Sarah. Anna always liked chatting with her because the old lady treated her well and was very gentle. "Grandma, why are you helping an outsider? I'm your grandson." Garrett sighed. "Anna is not an outsider. She has been coming over to play since she was young." Sarah smiled and gave Anna a doting look. "Grandmother." Garrett sighed again and shook his head as he walked towards his room. Anna stuck out her tongue at Garrett's back and pointed to him. When she saw Sarah nod her head to show her support, she became 100 times more energetic and quickly chased after him. Sarah turned off to the staff members that had stopped working to witness their exchange. "Go back to work. Don't concern yourselves with this little disagreement. We must always welcome Miss Anna and make her feel at home. It will help improve the relationship between our families." The staff wondered when Miss Gardner's attitude towards the Alexander family had changed so much. Previously, she would always grit her teeth and curse at the mention of the name Alexander. Although there were some reasons that were not clear, the staff knew that the Gardners did not like to talk about the Alexander family. "Yes, Miss Gardner." The housekeeper nodded her head. "Finally," Sarah thought to herself. A fool has revealed itself in the Alexander family. Anna kept pestering her grandson, but no matter how cold Garrett's behavior was, he couldn't chase her away. It had been more than 10 years, and no matter how hard Garrett tried, he couldn't find a way to keep Anna away. What did that mean? It meant that she really loved her grandson. Unless they got married, Anna would never give up on pursuing him. She would follow him wherever he went. This was good. They could use this relationship to their advantage. Anna would do whatever Garrett asked her to do. The Alexander family owed the Gardner family. The time for payback would come. Garrett smiled at the housekeeper and walked off. She did nothing to stop Anna from chasing Garrett right to his bedroom door. "Why are you always following me?" Garrett helplessly face-palmed. "It's already so late. You should go home now. I'll ask our driver to take you home." This woman would even follow a man into his bedroom in the middle of the night. She did not realize that it was very easy to give people the wrong impression. Although Garrett did not hate Anna, he had no plans to pursue her. Now was not the time. "No!" "Fine. What do you want to say to me? Tell me. Hurry up and then get out." Garrett was irritated and just wanted to go to bed. Anna was about to cry. Her big eyes were clearly sparkling with tears, but she stubbornly refused to let them fall. "I am not leaving until you tell me why you like Elizabeth." Episode 121. She's not the one. I mean, what's so great about Elizabeth? She isn't that attractive, and she's definitely not that nice. Anna really could not think of any good points about Elizabeth, other than that she was good at putting on an act. "So today, I'm finding out that you like to talk about others behind their backs. Are all the members of the Alexander family the same as you? Are you jealous?" Garrett was very disgusted by this kind of behavior, especially coming from Anna. This was not like her. She usually tried to be so agreeable with him. "Do I need to be jealous of her?" Anna was so angry that her face turned red. But since Garrett did not like her saying things behind someone's back, she did not belittle Elizabeth anymore. However, she still angrily fought with Garrett. "What, do you want to be a star now? Are you jealous of her fame and career?" "That's not what I meant." Anna was frustrated. She did not understand why Garrett didn't seem to understand why she was asking about Elizabeth. "Then what do you mean?" Garrett stood at the door of his room. If he entered the room, Anna would obviously follow him in. He did not want to have a romantic relationship with her. If Logan found out, Garrett did not know how he would handle the fallout. He reckoned this thing with Anna could only lead to trouble. Lori Group's business was improving. He could not let all his successful efforts go to waste over an argument with Logan about Anna. "Don't come looking for me again. You should know that Logan won't allow us to continue our relationship like this. I can only be with a woman I like and want. Anna, you have to grow up. You are not a little girl anymore," Garrett remarked. "Really, Garrett? When we went to the banquet, you clearly said that I was your date for the evening. Could a child be your female companion? Don't tell me you don't think of me as a woman." Anna stared at Garrett with sparkling eyes. This was the first time she had faced Garrett with such courage. If Garrett needed a woman, wasn't she the most qualified one? They had grown up together. Who could compete with that kind of relationship? From Anna's point of view, she was not inferior to Elizabeth. Even her family background and social standing were better. "If you like celebrities, then I can also become one in the future. I'll work hard and take it seriously," Anna stated. She was willing to do anything to win Garrett over. He did not expect her to be so direct. Garrett was at a loss for words at the moment. He actually did not know how to answer her question. How did he feel about Anna? Did he dislike her? Was he annoyed? Or was it because he listened to his grandmother and had been using her to attack the Smith group? Garrett did not really have an answer. "Garrett!" Anna grabbed his arm tightly and did not let go. She looked like she was about to cry, and it was pitiful. Her warm and soft palm was pressed against Garrett's skin. He was a man, and he could be swayed. But he reminded himself to stay calm and not allow her to play with his emotions. A malicious intent rose from the depths of Garrett's soul. He held Anna's chin tightly and gritted his teeth. So, you are concerned about who I want? Yes, Anna replied. What if I say I like Elizabeth? No! Anna shook her head repeatedly. She could not hold back her tears anymore. She threw herself into Garrett's arms without caring about anything. Why can't you like me? Like me, even a little, even if it is very, very little. As long as there is that little bit, it will be enough, Garrett. Garrett felt Anna's warm tears on his chest. He quickly pushed her away. Don't be like this. That woman is different. Don't you understand this? Why don't you get this? Why do you hate me so much, Garrett? We were childhood sweethearts. We've been together for more than 10 years. Together? When did we get together? Garrett felt a headache coming on. He straightened his clothes that had been messed up by Anna. He wanted to reach out and touch her head to comfort her, but seeing Anna's eyes full of desire, he retracted his hand. I have always liked you, Garrett. You must know that. I don't know. Garrett was thoroughly annoyed. He felt like he was dealing with a child, and God knew he had no interest in children. Anna pursed her lips and her eyes became even redder. Stop. Don't cry in front of me. Garrett rudely took out a handkerchief from his pocket and patted Anna's face without any gentleness. Wipe yourself clean. Don't let people think that I bullied you. Don't tell me that you didn't bully me. Anna sobbed and choked. Don't act like a spoiled child. It's useless, Anna. Never interfere with my freedom to make friends, okay? Garrett said. Garrett thought for a moment and said, Don't act like a spoiled child in front of me. Go home. I don't want to offend Logan. Or go home so you can act like a spoiled child in front of Logan. Let him teach you a lesson and help you vent your anger. I must insist you leave. I don't like how you take liberties, Anna. Garrett said, This has nothing to do with my big brother. As long as you treat me well, Logan will not have a problem with us. Why should I treat you well? Garrett raised his eyebrows. I did not say I even like you. Then who do you like? It's none of your business who I like. They were arguing in circles, and Garrett's head began to pound even harder. The women of the Kingston family are all pretty good options. They are mature, beautiful, sensible, and gentle. You will never be able to compare with them. You are not the one, Anna. Garrett said bluntly. He had decided to deliver a message she couldn't ignore. His relationship with Anna could not go on like this. It was just causing him irritation and discomfort. Their interactions weren't doing any harm to the Alexander family either. Sure enough, Garrett's words had dealt a huge blow to Anna. She stared at Garrett for a moment, open-mouthed and speechless. He took his finger and gently pushed her chin up and closed it. Close your mouth. You look ridiculous. Garrett, don't hate me, please. Anna's face was wet with tears. It turned out that Garrett liked mature women. How could she compete with that? All right, you should go home now. If you're not back by tomorrow, Logan will come looking for me. Don't say that. My brother is not like that. It seems that you still trust him more than you trust me. Garrett smiled coldly. He felt that his attempt at a soft-hearted attitude just now was a joke. On the surface, he was the only one she liked, but in actual fact, the person she liked the most was her brother. It didn't matter in the end who Anna liked best. He had never thought about ending up with her, and Garrett hadn't changed his mind tonight. It was time for Anna to leave. Episode 122. The answer is no. Garrett thought it over and came to a conclusion. Logan would never figure out his plan. That was enough for him. Anna's sole purpose was to keep the Alexander family in check. No, Garrett, you are equally important, Anna said. All right, I understand. Garrett replied humbly. He did not take Anna's words seriously. Whoever took Anna's words seriously would be a fool. Then, can you promise me that you will not get involved with Elizabeth? How can you be so sure that it is Elizabeth I want? Maybe Violet is the one I like. Garrett smiled. What? You can't be serious. She's with your brother. Had Garrett not attended the same banquet as her? Everyone had witnessed the dynamic between Violet and Logan. It was the first time Logan had even brought a woman, not to mention her 2 children, to such an important event. It was a big deal. Logan was notoriously private. I am free to like whoever I want. Besides, Violet and your brother are not an established couple. Perhaps she will think that I am a more suitable match for her. Anna was stunned. If Garrett liked Violet, how could she compete with her? After all, even Logan was treating Violet differently than the women in his past. Anna had never seen him care so much about a woman, and even her 2 children. She was lost in her thoughts for a moment. She did not even notice when Garrett opened the door and entered his room. Anna did not know what to do. She wanted to ask Garrett to hug her and comfort her. They had known each other since they were kids. They'd had physical contact in the past, although it was always platonic. Although Garrett had rejected her many times, Anna had always ignored him and continued to do what she wanted. Would tonight's revelations change everything? Seeing Anna standing at his door, looking lost, Garrett didn't know what to do. She was silent and pale. Garrett wasn't used to this Anna. He didn't even know what to say. Garrett, I'm going home now. Anna turned around and left. She walked downstairs like she was sleepwalking. When she reached the bottom, she almost tripped. Luckily, she grabbed the railing tightly and stabilized herself. Anna decided she needed to hurry home and go to sleep. She would pretend that tonight never happened. Tomorrow, Garrett would tell her that all of this was just him teasing her. Garrett didn't feel at ease after Anna finally left. He stood in his room for a long moment, then chased after her. He saw that she had already left the house. He followed her outside and saw her car. The car lights lit up the shady road as it turned out of his driveway. Garrett stood and watched it leave. Garrett tried to talk himself into not feeling sorry for Anna. She was Logan's sister. Although her mother had not been a member of the Alexander family, Anna was still considered an Alexander. The Alexanders were his enemies. How could he feel sorry for his enemy? Garrett sighed heavily and rubbed his forehead. Because of the Alexander family, he had lost the most important person in his life, his father. His grandmother had fallen into a terrifying obsession. Sarah should have been enjoying her old age, not plotting revenge with him. All of this was because of the Alexander family. What right did he have to feel compassion for Anna? He needed to forget about it. Anna would get over him. She had needed him to be blunt tonight, whether she knew it or not. Even though he felt a little disappointed, he shook the feeling off and went upstairs to go to bed. He had a meeting with Logan tomorrow. The biggest share of the property that he had collaborated on with the Kingston group belonged to the Smith group. He had to discuss the bidding process in the sample room with Logan. He had to be alert and on the top of his game tomorrow. He could not afford to lose to Logan, ever. On the other hand, when Violet and Noah arrived at the Smith group, Logan and Corey were talking. Amy rushed up to Noah and threw her arms out to hug him when she saw them coming in. Violet looked at Amy and saw that she was eating. "Why are you letting her eat donuts? She'll spoil her appetite for dinner," Violet complained. Logan looked up at Violet. "What's the big deal? Amy was hungry. If the child wants a donut, then let her eat a donut." Logan frowned, obviously disagreeing with Violet. "If she was hungry, then give her something healthy to snack on. Carrot sticks, an apple, crackers and cheese, not a donut. Do you know all the preservatives and sugar in that?" Violet pursed her lips at Logan in displeasure. The man had never raised a child before and only knew how to indulge them. Logan didn't seem too concerned. Violet was challenging him in front of everyone in the office. They often bickered, making his other employees raise their eyebrows in wonder. Now, with the addition of a child, it was more like they were an old married couple arguing versus a boss and a secretary. "Uncle Logan, Mommy said the answer is no." Amy sighed dramatically. "Mommy wants me to starve." Amy was especially good at getting her way. She put the chocolate donut she'd been eating back in the box half finished. She looked at Logan with her big, sad eyes. Then she looked at Noah. Then Corey. Violet rolled her eyes. Amy's acting skills were deserving of an Academy Award. Her daughter was wrapping these 3 grown men around her finger with one pitiful expression. Just as Violet opened her mouth to remind Amy she knew she wasn't allowed to eat junk food before dinner, Noah spoke up. "Come on, one little donut isn't going to hurt her." Corey nodded his head in agreement, and Logan looked triumphant. Amy raised her head high and proudly looked at her mommy, a smug smile on her face. Violet wrinkled her nose and snorted. She knew she wasn't going to win. Violet pitied the man who would marry her daughter one day. Violet changed the subject. "Where's Drake? Why isn't he here? Is there anything you want me to do?" Since Violet was here, she should do something to help. Violet turned. "Why don't I go and make some coffee?" "Drake went to go and do something big." Amy interrupted. "What big thing?" "Oh, I asked him to go buy some apple juice for Amy," Logan replied. "We only had coffee and tea in the break room." The big thing was buying Amy some juice. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't make sense of Logan's words. It sounded ridiculous. Violet felt that Logan was hiding something from her. She would also ask Drake. She was always able to get Drake to spill any secrets. If there was something to get out of him, she would. "All right, well, then I'll go and make the adults some more coffee." The employees would gather in the break room throughout the day when they needed a breather from work or to eat lunch. Although Violet rarely had the time to linger, she liked to retreat to the break room to make tea or coffee, and sometimes to escape Logan for a few minutes. Amy followed her to the break room, and Violet showed her how the little cups went into the machine and then came out as a hot drink. Amy was spellbound. When she returned with the coffee, she saw Noah sitting on the sofa reading the newspaper. Logan and Corey seemed to have just finished discussing something and looked up at her. "Is everything okay?" Corey, did I miss something? Violet felt that Corey wanted to say something, but stopped himself. Everything's fine, just a typical day. Logan chimed in. We were just discussing some business decisions. Corey, you can go now. Check back with me later. Obviously, Logan did not want to continue this conversation, so he sent Corey away. After Corey left, Logan and Noah spoke for a long time. Violet played I Spy with Amy to keep her occupied and out of trouble. Suddenly, Noah looked up. It's getting late. Logan, don't forget you have to pick up Adam from school. Logan scowled at Noah, annoyed. Why did Noah hover like an old mother? Logan brokered hundreds of deals with thousands of details simultaneously. Did Noah really think he'd forget to pick up one little boy? Episode 123. Office Gossip. Logan was irritated with Noah. When Noah had said it was time to pick up Adam from school, Violet had jumped up in a rush to leave. No need to panic, Violet. Henry is going to pick Adam up. Don't worry. We have plenty of time and can go home early today. Amy probably misses her brother a lot, right? Logan turned to Amy and smiled. Yes, I miss my brother so much. Uncle Logan, when are we going home? Amy immediately perked up. Soon. I need to finish up a few things, then we will leave in a little bit. Logan flipped through the documents in his hand. He needed about 20 more minutes. Amy was very happy. She asked her mommy and Uncle Noah to wait. She wanted to go home with Uncle Logan. Violet could not bear to spoil her mood and could only agree. Then you have a few minutes to kill. Let's go take a walk so Logan can concentrate. Noah mainly wanted to chat with Violet. He carried Amy on his shoulders as they walked towards the exit next to the break room. As they passed the open break room doors, they heard voices. Violet froze when she heard her name and Logan's. There were other employees in the break room gossiping about what had happened at the Kingston's banquet and the nature of the relationship between Logan and Violet. No wonder Corey did not want Violet to go make coffee earlier. Maybe he was afraid of what she might overhear. After all, even if it was explicitly stated that gossip in the workplace was not allowed, you couldn't stop human nature. People would always talk about other people if they thought there was something juicy to discuss. A possible romantic relationship between the CEO and his secretary? There was no way people wouldn't dissect every little tidbit of gossip they heard about that. Violet's face turned bright red. She was embarrassed and angry. Once a woman became involved in a workplace romance, all her previous efforts and hard work would be ignored. Now she would be seen as a promiscuous woman using her body to get ahead. Violet listened in horror at the words drifting into the hall. Someone was reminding the others that when Violet had originally been hired, they had all thought that because she was a single mother, she would focus on the job and not Logan. She had children to support and relevant work experience. Everyone felt that she was a safe candidate for the position and would definitely not cause any scandals like those of his previous secretaries. But now it looked like they'd all been wrong. After Violet and Logan's appearance at the Kingston banquet together, everyone was speculating on the nature of their relationship. Were they romantically involved? Surely, every socialite in Los Angeles would be envious. It looked like Logan was off the market, if not officially yet. Did you see that picture of her in that white dress at the banquet? An employee asked. That thing had to have cost thousands of dollars. She used to be so bland and boring before." The others agreed Violet had made stunning appearances at both the charity banquet and the Kingston family banquet. She certainly was dressing as if she had a rich benefactor. "Well, rumors have been circulating for years about what exactly happened between Violet and the Kingstons." A male employee then reminded everyone she had run away at a young age and given birth to 2 children. They said the rumor mill accused her of being frivolous and promiscuous. A rich young lady who was spoiled since childhood. She was beautiful, but given that both her parents had died, no one had apparently ever disciplined or guided her, and she'd gone down the wrong path. And now she is going to be Mr. Alexander's private estate manager. They are going to be living together. Who knows what she's doing with him behind closed doors? The tale of the CEO and his secretary had spread like wildfire through the Smith group. Some people expressed their support and said that it was their choice to hook up if they wanted to. They were both extremely attractive, after all, a perfect match. Who are we to comment on their private lives? Another group of employees expressed their hatred. They felt that Violet was very calculating. First, she pretended to be an ordinary woman and got herself hired as a secretary to get close to Logan. Then she used her gorgeous face and body to seduce Logan. She even took advantage of every opportunity to appear at social occasions with him. Did she want to flaunt her relationship with Logan to everyone? Everyone seemed to have an opinion on Logan and Violet's relationship. Logan is really stupid. He was fooled by this woman. She is really scheming. She was always so modest and demure. Guess it was all an act. What's the big deal? They are both consenting adults. I am so jealous. Violet is a lucky woman. What are you jealous of? You are beautiful. You can have that kind of body too. Although they were gossiping, the employees weren't whispering. It was hard not to hear them. They laughed from time to time. They made some colorful jokes at Violet's expense. No detail of the relationship between Violet and Logan was too small for them to analyze. Violet's face grew redder the longer they listened. Amy was still young and did not understand, but Violet had heard enough. She quickly pulled Noah away. The employees in the break room never even noticed they'd been listening. Noah and Violet looked at each other and sighed, a tacit message passing between them. This was likely only the beginning of the gossip headed their way. Amy got down from Noah's shoulders and ran to look out the big window at the city below. Violet should have prepared herself for this. Ever since she showed up at the charity banquet, Violet's popularity on all the major online platforms had increased. Fights would break out online between those who thought Violet should be with Logan and for those for Elizabeth. Given the current situation, it was temporarily impossible to live a peaceful life, so she would have to follow Logan's lead and try to ignore the gossip in the press. Otherwise, she would never have a moment's peace. Ignore it. There's no need to get upset. Let others think what they want. You know the truth. Violet knew Noah was right, so she tried to persuade herself to let it go. She had left Los Angeles for 4 years. Once she returned, she had become so high profile that she had even managed to attract Logan's interest. Violet really couldn't decide whether this was a blessing or a curse. But for Violet, this was her chance. If it wasn't for Logan, I might have lost my life. So I don't think too much about the gossip. In order to get what I want, I will have to accept the consequences. I can't be angry. How can you not be angry? Feeling angry is normal, but it won't change anything. Violet nodded her head and changed the subject. Have you learned anything new regarding our kidnapping case? Does Logan have any leads? He said he does, but he told me not to worry about it. Noah replied. Logan says he'll take care of it. It has something to do with the Kingston family. I just know it. Violet stated. Noah agreed. For you, the most important thing right now is to plan how you're going to move ahead in the future. Stay clear-headed at all times. Ignore the gossip, take care of your kids, and be careful with Logan. With Amy nearby, it was better not to say too much about the Kingstons. Haley supports my relationship with Logan, especially if it helps me get what I want. She is just too optimistic. Noah curled his lips. He knew what Haley was thinking. Okay, I'll try not to think all about this too much and focus on Adam and Amy. And I'll try to ignore what everyone is saying. Violet would try to ignore the gossip, but she couldn't help feeling like she was walking around Los Angeles with a scarlet letter on her chest. Episode 124, Unannounced. Violet had decided she had to just ignore all the gossip surrounding her relationship with Logan. She wouldn't be Logan's lover for the rest of her life. He'd likely grow bored with her at some point, and even if he didn't, the Alexander family would never accept her. Therefore, before their contract ended, she needed to take Haley's advice and see her relationship with Logan as a way to help her fulfill all her long, cherished wishes. As for her future, as long as she had her children, Noah and Haley, then that would be enough. Logan and Violet's relationship was still a sore spot with Noah. He felt that Haley was too optimistic and Violet was too pessimistic, but he didn't say anything. After all, who knew how their situation would turn out in the end? Anyway, people should be selfish, Noah said. When you encounter a problem, just think about yourself. I will help you settle the matter of the shares. I'm just afraid that the Kingston family will target you, Violet said. Don't worry about me. When I agreed to Kenneth's request, I knew what I was getting into, Noah responded. If anything happens, you must tell me. Violet looked at Noah and made him promise her. She was satisfied when she saw Noah nod slightly. I will. Don't worry. Noah saw that she had a childlike innocence with all kinds of thoughts on her face. He gave her a comforting smile. Amy ran back over and snuggled into Noah's arms. She hugged Noah's neck and almost fell asleep. Even though she didn't have to go to school today, she'd still woken up early to have breakfast with her brother. She also insisted on accompanying Uncle Logan when he dropped Adam off at school. Then, when Uncle Logan was going to drop her off at home on his way to the office, Amy pouted until he gave in and agreed to take her to work with him. After spending the whole day in Logan's office, she was very tired now. Of course, other people were even more tired, such as Corey and Drake. The two assistants had helped entertain Amy in the office all day, and now they were both exhausted. Amy's arrival had been a welcomed one, as it made Logan's subordinates see their boss in a different light. When he'd asked, they'd readily agreed to help with Amy. Compared to their usual workload, they figured watching Amy would be a piece of cake. However, after spending the day with her, Corey thought it would be easier to face his boss. They had never seen a child with so much energy. Amy, are you sleepy? Why don't we head home? Violet saw Amy yawning and fighting to keep her eyelids open. Let's go and see if Logan is done with his work, Noah said, patting Amy's back. We shouldn't rush him, Violet replied. What's wrong with that? He said he wanted to go back with us. Noah did not think it was a big deal. He started carrying Amy towards Logan's office. Just then, they saw the elevator doors open. Two people came walking out. Elizabeth, followed by her assistant. Elizabeth and her assistant turned the corner and headed towards Logan's office. "Why is she here?" Noah frowned and asked. "I don't know. Maybe she's looking for Logan?" Violet said and lowered her head, hoping Elizabeth hadn't seen her. She really wasn't that surprised to see Elizabeth. Violet knew that the Kingston family would not give up so easily. They would not give up the shares, and Elizabeth marrying Logan ensured they'd win. The Kingstons knew if Logan helped them, it would not be difficult for them to acquire the disputed shares. After all, Logan did not say that he would help Violet. He only said that he would not interfere. In the end, they were not sure whose side Logan would choose to stand on. Both sides had a chance. "Let's just go. We don't need to wait for Logan," Violet remarked. Noah still carried Amy and did not know whether she was sleeping or not. The easiest thing to do would be to just take Violet and Amy home, but the proper thing was to touch base with Logan first. "Let's just pop our heads in and say goodbye first. He'll wonder where we went if we don't," Noah stated. "Then you go. I'll wait here." Violet was always a little willful with Noah. She had gotten used to getting her way over the years. "Okay, I'll take you and Amy to the car first. Then I will come back to get my things and say goodbye to Logan." Noah's car was parked downstairs. He carried Amy to the car and then left her with Violet, and then went back inside to Logan's office to get his briefcase. "Logan, my mother said that after what happened at the banquet, some of the Kingston Group's upcoming deals were negatively impacted. Everyone thought we were going to get engaged. Who knew that it was a misunderstanding? They thought that there was a conflict between our family and the Alexander family." Elizabeth complained. "It doesn't matter if those people don't cooperate with us." Logan lowered his eyebrows. He was not interested in what Elizabeth was saying. He was even less interested in doing business with anyone who was taking advantage of the current situation. "But Mother feels that the relationship between our two families has endured for so many years. We cannot let it be misunderstood by outsiders," Elizabeth explained. "What does she want to do?" Logan raised his head. "Mommy said that the Lewis family must hold a large press conference for this cooperation project. When the time comes, you must be there. There will be a reception after the press conference. Logan, please come. It will not take up too much of your time." Elizabeth moved closer to Logan, but didn't dare to have physical contact with him, afraid that he would lose his temper like the last time. But she had on the perfume that Philly had given her. It was said that no man could resist the fragrance. It was good to be closer to him. As long as Logan smelled it, she would be fine. She was looking forward to Logan's change of attitude towards her. "That sounds like a hassle," Logan said. He found the press conferences and the other social functions that came along with his job a necessary evil. They required his frequent participation, but it seemed to be a never-ending cycle of one annoying event after another. Just then, Noah pushed open the door and walked in. "Hey, why is Noah here?" Elizabeth looked at him with a barely concealed scowl. "Is my cousin with you?" "Why do you think I am with your cousin?" Noah was also curious, but about why Elizabeth was there. After Logan hinted that his relationship with Violet was not as simple as it once was, the Kingston family did not seem to be affected at all. They were still enthusiastically clinging onto Logan. Noah had never encountered such a thick-skinned person. Elizabeth just didn't get it. He did not know what Garrett had been thinking when he'd thrown out an olive branch to Elizabeth. "I was just asking, but aren't you two always attached at the hip? I heard that you guys have known each other since childhood, about as long as Lionel has known Violet." Logan found he was annoyed to be reminded by Elizabeth of Violet's long acquaintance with Noah and Lionel. "Noah worked for Kenneth. He's known the entire Kingston family a long time," Logan interjected. "It makes sense that he's close to Violet. They are old friends." "People are gossiping about Noah and Violet's close relationship. Surely you know that, Logan," Elizabeth informed Logan. Noah was confused about how he'd suddenly become part of the gossip. Wasn't the scandal between Logan and Violet? "Why would I care about gossip? Where are Violet and Amy, Noah?" Logan was unhappy that Noah had returned alone. Elizabeth had entered his office as if she owned the place. Why had none of his assistants stopped her? Here Elizabeth was, making herself at home in his office, and Violet was nowhere to be seen. The woman he didn't want had barged in unannounced, and the woman he did want had left without saying goodbye. Episode 125. Time to leave. Logan was just wondering where Violet and Amy went when Elizabeth spoke up. "Logan, is Amy here too?" Elizabeth's heart was pounding. She did not know why Logan would allow a child to come to the Smith group. Violet really thought too highly of herself. She probably felt that the Smith group couldn't function without her. She was really arrogant. It could not possibly be that Logan wanted them here, right? "My cousin does not know the rules. Please forgive her once, for my sake. She didn't mean to disturb you by bringing Amy here." Logan didn't say anything. Noah raised his eyebrows at Logan's silence, then went to the couch to get his briefcase. Obviously, he had wanted Amy there. He'd been the one to bring her. Elizabeth was really just talking to herself. Logan obviously didn't want to show that he cared too much about Violet in front of Noah, so he didn't explain himself. "Wait for me. I'm almost done here." Logan had promised Amy that he would go home to eat with her, and he intended to keep his promise. "You're finished talking?" Noah looked between Logan and Elizabeth. Elizabeth had dressed to impress. She had an agenda when she came here. Noah thought it unlikely she'd be willing to leave so soon after arriving. "We're done talking. Elizabeth, we can pick this up another time. I need to go home." Logan stood up and began packing his things. Elizabeth was flustered. He was dismissing her? Then she had an idea. "Oh, I really wanted to see Adam and Amy. Why don't I join you all for dinner?" She didn't know if Logan would agree or not. Noah groaned internally. He knew Miranda's daughter. The words "give up" did not exist in her vocabulary. That's... Logan hesitated for a moment. He had to cut ties with Elizabeth, but he couldn't exactly refuse her request. He didn't want to be so heartless. It was just dinner. It should not be a problem for him to have a meal with her. "Okay, let's go together," he responded. "Great. I will tell my assistant to leave, and I'll ride with you in your car." Without waiting for Logan to agree, Elizabeth happily went out into the hall to talk to her assistant. Even if Noah didn't agree with their plan, what was Logan supposed to do? He couldn't just leave her sitting alone in his office. He didn't really have a choice. It was just dinner. Noah figured he would be there to protect Violet. Noah would not let Violet suffer. Getting another idea, Noah quickly took out his phone and sent a text to Haley, asking her whether she had dinner plans. Haley did not reply immediately. "If you don't have any plans, come to Logan's for dinner." "All right, I'll be there soon." Haley texted back. Noah felt more at ease. He put away his phone and quietly followed Logan out. Noah wanted to walk ahead to warn Violet of their uninvited guest, but Elizabeth pulled him along, chatting his ear off. She was trying to pretend she was concerned, asking all sorts of questions about Violet. But she really just wanted to infringe on Violet's privacy and get information that she could use against her in the future. "Her days are very quiet." Noah was candid. "If your father and mother didn't send people to follow them, they wouldn't need to move again and again." "My parents? How is that possible? They wouldn't do that." Elizabeth told Noah he must have misunderstood. "Logan knows that my parents are honest and trustworthy. My mother may have a bad temper sometimes. She has been talking about my cousin for so many years. She has been worrying me." Noah thought her response odd. Could Elizabeth not know what her parents were capable of? "All the evidence points to Charles and Miranda, but I believe that you are innocent." Noah smiled mysteriously. Elizabeth was shocked. "This so-called evidence. What kind of evidence was it? If there was really evidence, why didn't Violet and Noah go to the police? Where did this evidence come from?" Elizabeth had to get the truth and then go home to discuss it with her parents. Her mother would be proud of her. "There is no need to talk about this now. Violet is completely unaware of any of this. These things have nothing to do with you." Noah thought for a moment and then added, "You should also advise your family that there's no need to go to extremes. You can't just say you're family. You have to act like you are." Could it be that Violet isn't wrong about everything? But how can that be? Elizabeth's eyes were red as if she had suffered a great grievance. Furthermore, the relationship between her and Logan has caused a lot of trouble for my family. Elizabeth added, "Then what do you think Violet should do?" Noah asked. "I really want Violet to come home. Wouldn't it be good for her to return to her roots and behave as a young lady of the Kingston family should? She chose to become an estate manager and is even living under someone else's roof. This is really a disgrace to the Kingstons." Elizabeth had a sincere look on her face. She really believes what she's saying. Noah thought to himself. "Noah, can you help me persuade Violet? As long as she is willing to come home, I will definitely convince Chloe and my parents to treat Violet better." She ensured Logan was still behind her and then leaned in to whisper to Noah. The fragrance of her perfume irritated his nose. Noah sneezed and quickly moved away. "We will let bygones be bygones if Violet will. Why don't we move forward?" Elizabeth proposed. Noah was silent for a moment. Clearly, he was considering what she had said. Elizabeth was wild with joy. She felt that her trip to the Smith group today had not been in vain. "Is this evidence that you were talking about real? Or is that some people just trying to create tension between us and deliberately discredit us?" "Don't worry, I have preserved the evidence very well. My law firm's security system was set up by the best security company in Los Angeles. There will be no problems. As for whether it's true or false, there will naturally be people who will try to discredit it when it's submitted," Noah revealed. Oh? You're so concerned about Violet. It would be better to convince Miranda and Charles to hand over Violet's shares. Anyway, it's only a matter of time. Noah added. Elizabeth fell silent. She had already gotten the answer she wanted. She also did not have any interest in interacting with Noah anymore. She smiled and said, "Oh, Logan is here. I'm riding with him. I will consider your suggestion. Of course, the most important thing is still Violet's attitude. I hope that she will have an objective opinion of my parents. There is no need to constantly make assumptions." Then, let's wait and see who's telling the truth, Noah announced. Fine. Elizabeth smiled sweetly and turned around to greet Logan. Even though Logan had announced in front of everyone that there was no engagement and that he did not acknowledge her as his girlfriend, Elizabeth remained unfazed. She did not feel offended at all and stuck to Logan's side. She held her arms out for him for a hug, as if she was a little bird that was dependent on others. Noah was very surprised that Logan did not refuse her attention. Besides, he and Violet had signed an unfair agreement. Logan could control Violet, but Violet could not control him. So she could only watch him do whatever he wanted, with whoever he wanted. But as a friend, Noah could still share his opinion. This wasn't the time nor the place, though. He'd find a chance to talk to Logan. At the very least, they should put together a list of new mutual exceptions. Number 1 on the list, don't hug your ex-girlfriend. And number 2, don't invite her to dinner unannounced.